Every member of this Senate, Republican and Democrat, has promised to our voters we will protect Social Security. The bill on the floor of the Senate tonight would accelerate the insolvency of Social Security by 6 months. My amendment fixes the inequity of the Windfall Elimination Provision, but does so at a cost of only $25 billion instead of $200 billion.
Hello, Patriots. Welcome back to the channel where we fight for the values that made this country great. If you haven't subscribed yet, hit that button and join the movement to keep America strong, free, and prosperous. Today, we're talking about something that's been on my mind for a while, especially after watching Senator Ted Cruz's impassioned speech on the Senate floor. He's been fighting for the protection of Social Security, and folks, I've got a lot to say about it. As a right-wing patriot, I believe in strong, responsible leadership, and what we're seeing in Washington right now is not just a problem. It's a serious threat to our seniors and our nation's financial future. Let's dive into this.
On a provision to treat fairly our retired police officers, firefighters, and teachers. We should do that. The Windfall Elimination Provision treated them unfairly. I've been fighting to correct this since 2017. We can correct this. We can treat our retired cops and firefighters and teachers fairly. However, the provision on the floor of the Senate tonight would add to the Social Security Trust Fund $200 billion in debt. Every member of this Senate, Republican and Democrat, has promised to our voters we will protect Social Security. The bill on the floor of the Senate tonight would accelerate the insolvency of Social Security by 6 months. My amendment fixes the inequity of the Windfall Elimination Provision, but does so at a cost of only $25 billion instead of $200 billion. The amendment on the floor accelerates the insolvency of Social Security. My amendment has a negligible effect on Social Security. Let me urge everyone, let's support our cops and firefighters and teachers, but let's also not throw our seniors down the river. I urge you to vote yes.
Mr. President, everyone is here tonight voting on a provision to treat fairly our retired police officers, firefighters, and teachers. We should do that. The Windfall Elimination Provision treated them unfairly. I've been fighting to correct this since 2017. We can correct this, we can treat our retired cops and firefighters and teachers fairly, but the provision on the floor of the Senate tonight would add $200 billion in debt to the Social Security Trust Fund, accelerating the insolvency of Social Security by 6 months. Wow. You hear that? The Democrats and some of the Rhino Republicans in the Senate are pushing a bill that will add a whopping $200 billion to the Social Security Trust Fund's debt. And guess what? They've promised time and time again to protect Social Security. But how are they protecting it by loading it down with even more debt? This is exactly why we need to elect people who are truly committed to the principles of fiscal responsibility and securing our future. This is a prime example of why the status quo just isn't cutting it anymore. You see, Cruz is absolutely right when he talks about the Windfall Elimination Provision. Cops, firefighters, and teachers, our hardworking public servants, have been getting the short end of the stick for years when it comes to their Social Security benefits. They've worked hard, they've put their lives on the line, and they've earned their benefits. But the system, especially under the Windfall Elimination Provision, punishes them. That's wrong. It's a betrayal of the very people who risk their lives to protect and serve us. These are the men and women who keep our communities safe. These are the ones who educate our children. And the system is stacked against them when it comes to their retirement benefits. It's an injustice, and it's about time we fix it. But here's the real kicker, folks. The provision that's on the table right now in the Senate? It's going to add $200 billion to Social Security's debt. And let me tell you something, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to understand that when you add debt to Social Security, you're not protecting it, you're accelerating its collapse. This bill is pushing us even closer to Social Security insolvency, and if we don't stop it now, we're going to see the complete collapse of this essential program in a matter of years. And do you know who's going to pay the price for that? You and me. Our parents, our grandparents, and future generations who depend on Social Security to survive in their retirement. According to Cruz, this bill will bring about insolvency 6 months faster. That may not sound like a lot, but in the world of government spending, 6 months could mean the difference between having a safety net for our seniors and watching that net disappear altogether. We can't afford that. We just can't. Now, let's be clear. Cruz isn't just standing up against this massive debt. He's offering a solution. His amendment, which he's been fighting for since 2017, would correct the Windfall Elimination Provision, but without bankrupting the Social Security Trust Fund. His amendment only costs $25 billion, not $200 billion. And that, my friends, is what a reasonable, responsible solution looks like. It's fiscally conservative. It's pragmatic. And it's the kind of leadership we need right now. Now, I know some of you may be thinking, well, we've got to protect Social Security at all costs, even if it means spending more money. But let me tell you something as a right-wing patriot. I don't believe in kicking the can down the road or making irresponsible promises that we can't keep. Social Security was never meant to be a lifelong government handout. It was designed to be a safety net. But the government's out-of-control spending is turning it into a ticking time bomb, and if we don't address it now, the only people who will suffer are the very people who've paid into the system their entire lives. These are the people who trusted the system. They've worked hard, paid their dues, and now they need their benefits to survive in their retirement years. They're not asking for handouts. They're asking for what they were promised. And here's the problem. Politicians in Washington have spent decades failing these very people. They promised the world to seniors at election time and then turn their backs on them once they're in office. Ted Cruz is one of the few senators who has consistently stood up for these people. He's calling out the fraud and the fiscal irresponsibility in Washington. And let's be clear, this bill, if passed, is nothing short of an attack on our seniors' futures. Now, some people will say Cruz's amendment doesn't go far enough. They'll say it doesn't fix everything. And to those people I say, you're right, it doesn't fix everything, but it's a damn good start. We need to be smart, we need to be strategic, and we need to fix this system without bankrupting our country. We've got to remember what this country is all about. It's about doing what's right. It's about putting Americans first. And that means protecting Social Security, but doing it in a way that's responsible and sustainable. We owe it to our seniors and to future generations to fix this now before it's too late. So, here's the bottom line. If you're a senator who's serious about protecting Social Security, you need to vote for Cruz's amendment. You need to stand up to the debt and the corruption in Washington. This is about more than just Social Security, it's about protecting the future of our country. We can't afford to let this system implode. Let's be smart, let's be brave, and let's put America first. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And as always, God bless America.